Either way, so for the first rounds, still round one, the Maenad Ryders versus QTS will be fought on Battle of the Dunes. Battle of the Dunes, very open map on all sides of the game. With a large storm, shifting with clouds, clearance, and storm that run through the center of the map from west to east, separating both spawns on the north and south sides of the map. This is definitely a map that favors some longer range combat, sniping ships. However, there are a few smaller routes, soft cover, and some hard cover routes that flanking ships can take to get in close. Though it looks like by the approach that we are taking a long-range set of combats. First we have, for the red team, the Riders, we have the Dionysus. It is a galleon packing Hades on its top deck, flak, and lumberjack. On its other side, we have a lumberjack-hwacha combination. Ship number 2, the Liberator Zone, is another galleon of similar build, a Hades lumber flak on left side with a hwacha Minotaur on its right. Ship number 3 for the blue team, QTS, is the Fun and Games. It is a Spire packing Gatling on main position, Gatling on top position, flak on its lower deck with an Artemis on its left bottom wing. Ship number 4 is the Fluffy Fortress. It is a galleon with dual hwacha on its right side, Gatling and hwacha on its left. And just taking a look at the teams there. Blue team setting up to the northern spawn there. They're going to move around the Leviathan there, wreckage of the Leviathan. And I also saw a diagram somewhat recently, well, I saw it again recently, I should say, of how this thing actually looks. How Leviathan actually looks, how big it actually is. And let me tell you, it's bigger than what you can see here. It's terrifying even. Anyone has a link to that picture, please let me know. Fluffy Fortress right now going to back up and post up to get their Spire a little bit of cover as the Spire definitely not a ship you see in competitive almost at all. This is a ship that is very favoring with some good gun facing front with the combination between 3 lights and a heavy weapon, the only of its type. However, it does couple that with some extremely low armor and a very high hitbox, especially for these sniping ships, which will be coming up here. These 2 galleons packing lumber, flak, and Hades. All weapons have a large amount of drop. However, that Spire is a very open box for them to hit. The Fluffy Fortress now going to try and move in. Looks like blue team is severely outgunned at range. Fluffy Fortress going to try and get their hwachas in arc, though they are severely outgunned at this range. Fun in Games with not a long-range gun on that ship. They are moving up with a Storm Cloud, however. That is not going to make it very easy for them. Dionysus and Liberator Zone laying in with very heavy damage, getting a pop and hull break onto the Fluffy Fortress. 50% of that gallion's armor, 75% of that armor disappears in an instant as flaks connect with their marks, doing significant amount of damage. Even after that flak rebalance, it is still powerful. Goodness, goodness, goodness. The Fun and Games now pressing up to get some hits on the Dionysus. Very good Gatling fire there. Some significant damage going in this aggressive ship. Once it gets close, can do significant amount of damage. However, armor break goes out on the Fun and Games. Balloon popped as well. Flak shots just barely going wide, not making it easy for that ship to get itself recovered. Balloon still down, however. The Fluffy Fortress going to now regroup with its ally. Both allies very split up, however. Fun and Games turned out of arc. Balloon popped, armor break down to 50% health and just about to bottom out on the ground. That Lumberjack has done a very good job locking them in on damage. Fun and Games now taken down. Blue team with the first death. Red team taken out with a first kill. And yes, to answer that question. Right now, the Fluffy Fortress now stands alone, going to try and do what damage they can before they falter. Fluffy Fortress taking significant damage, and there they go. 2-0 for the Rider team. No damage on either galleon. Both galleons suffered no damage, dealt significant amount to the enemy, giving them a very good kill advantage here and an advantage in the future games. Fun and Games now respawning on the top left of the map. However, Dionysus and Liberator Zone are going to hold back just a bit. These 2 galleons somewhat slow in their movement. However, regrouping and attempting to repost up for some longer range combat. Liberator Zone and Dionysus moving up as quick as they can to try and press into the spawn by the looks of the Fluffy Fortress and Fun and Games. They had the chance to use a non-harming standard cloud here to move up with their approach, concealing any movement they might have by the Fluffy Fortress and Fun and Games. Right now, the Fun and Games moving behind the Fluffy Fortress, going to press up as quick as they can to try and close distance. That is definitely the weakness of the blue team. They are at a very, very open map here with nearly 2 kilometers, almost 3 kilometers currently separating these enemies. That is a long shot even for Lumberjack and such. However, Dionysus now turning over for weapons, Liberator Zone as well, getting those guns in arc with a kilometer and a half still separating these enemies. That is still very out of range for the Fluffy Fortress and extremely far out of the range for the Fun and Games. They're going to try and continue to move forward as Watches go in. They'll go a little wide. They definitely need a bit of heavy clip on that magazine. Dionysus getting a little in the way of the Liberator Zone, however. Some overlapping combat, pressing Assault onto the Fun and Games, which is moving in quick. However, Armor Break goes out, damage all around. Flak getting connections there with a good amount of hull and falls the Spire. Spire not managing to get close very quickly there. That low armor and high hitbox make it a piece of cake in terms of combat. Hwachi goes out from the Liberator Zone, though no significant damage just yet. Minotaur, however, turning the Fluffy Fortress to get its nose into some wreckage. Not going to have an easy time trying to get out of that combat. Liberator Zone pushing with the Dionysus to push the Fluffy Fortress into a position where they have no guns. They have nothing in arc. The Fluffy Fortress definitely a closer range brawler galleon, though not having an easy time against these 2 ships, which are just pecking at it from out of range. Fluffy Fortress not going to be able to get out of this situation easily. They are stuck in the ground. Dual Lumberjack fire from the 2 red ships, excuse me, gonna peck away at that armor as Flak finishes up. Fun and Games now extremely exposed with about a kilometer apart from them. Artemis going out, though, going a little wide, having a hard time hitting at the extremely long distance. Some very good shots there on their part, despite the extremely long distance. Fun and Games now going to try and press out of here if they can, though significant damage is going against that balloon. Hades connecting as well. Armor break there on the Fun and Games. Armor already disappearing. 10% disappears in an instant. Flax coming in, though, going slightly wide. Liberator Zone and Dionysus not even going to move from their current position. They have Fun and Games pinned like to attack board, if you will. Fun and Games taking significant damage and falling quickly as its armor and balloon get continually popped way out of range on these two ships and not having a very easy time. 5-0 Ryders take the win.